Mike Wickline, 213 East Main Street. I had a lot on my mind, so I put it down on paper tonight, so I'll be reading it. Prudence indeed will dictate the government's long established should not be changed for light or transient causes. And accordingly, experience has shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object evinces a design to reduce them under the absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. This was written by a Virginian, or he's credited with authoring it, Thomas Jefferson, in the Declaration of Independence. This meeting tonight, this request for sanctuary, is much greater than just the Second Amendment movement. There is much more at stake. We have sat on the sidelines and winced as memorials to great Virginians are destroyed. Our history is being rewritten. We watch as our God and our right to worship Him is challenged, which has allowed moral decay to turn our cities and schools into cesspools of drugs and violence. We see illegals come to our country not to assimilate to our culture, but rather to require our assimilation to theirs. We watch as our elected representatives become wealthy while squandering our tax dollars. We have seen time and time again that allegations and innuendos are now all that's needed to pronounce a person guilty, instead of being innocent until you can prove you're proven guilty. Our rights and liberties are under attack, and it is my understanding from reading some of the legislation that's proposed that some of the comments I make here tonight could be construed and have me charged as a felon. While serving in the U.S. Navy, I had the unique opportunity to visit Romania while it was still part of the Soviet Union. The feeling of despair that was felt and the fear of the people lived under was constantly, because allegations and innuendos were all that was needed to remove them from their society. I learned that when those people knew that there is no way to prove your innocence from a state that is intent on proving you guilty. I've seen this happening in our country, evidence that has been disallowed in court cases that protect the innocent from showing until it got to a higher court. History has proven that when a government attempts to disarm its citizens, they no longer are citizens but become slaves. John Adams wrote, "Our Constitution was made only for moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to government of any other. There is no need for anyone to fear a moral person with a gun." So instead of trying to disarm moral populace that has caused no harm to anyone, maybe, just maybe, the time and effort should be better spent bringing God and morals back into our schools and our government. I saw a meme on Facebook that I thought was very pertinent to the situations that have been created by our government. It said, the reason we have 17,000 laws on the books is because we couldn't follow 10 lines on a stone slab. Amen. I realize that becoming a Second Amendment sanctuary city is basically a symbolic gesture. But it is a peaceful way of showing unity in protesting the unconstitutional and immoral actions planned by our elected officials in Richmond. Unconstitutional because the Second Amendment is clear when it says, "shall not be infringed." Immoral because there is no consistency when on one hand we must remove guns for the safety of our children, while on the other we are endorsing abortion. I hope the council will join our neighbors in sending a strong message to Richmond that the proverbial straw has been reached on the camel's back, and that we stand united, because I really don't want to have to come to another meeting and start quoting another famous Virginian, Patrick Henry. Most of the things I spoke about here happened on the national scene. They've been finding their way to our Commonwealth slowly. Now they seem to be on a waterfall. I hope we can get this stopped and hope we can turn it around. Thank you for your time.